What the heck?
Oh my gosh!
What the?
What the flip?
What the mother
What the flip? That was wrong!
Oh.
Look at that.
Is it dripping lava? I feel like it's coming.
Sparkle.
It's lava.
Sparkle.
It's fine. I think it's gonna explode. It's like a volcano. Dad, it's like a volcano. It's a volcano. It's like a volcano.
Yeah.
It is like a volcano.
Hey, Connor.
Get ready. Let's go. I want to explode. Come on, give me something good. Wow. That is like a firework volcano.
Mom! The smoke smells good. Doesn't it, Dad?
Getting
You
bigger.
smell that? That smells like exploded fireworks.
Yeah.
It's trying to explode.
Hey, yeah. Wow, Alistair, you like that?
I like the fireworks. It's getting no far.
Fireworks?
Have fireworks. Wow. Where's the fireworks?
Hello everybody, happy 4th of July, happy Independence Day in the United States. If you're living in a different country, I wish you the best and hope you're having a great time. Just before we talk about autism, sensory, and fireworks, I did want to just get off into the weeds a little bit and talk about some of the freedoms we have here in America. And I realize that YouTube is international and I'm talking to a huge audience. But one of the reasons we like to celebrate Independence Day is because we love freedom. We love independence. Our forefathers left England because they wanted more freedom. I'm not saying England is bad. One day we will visit England, and we have family from there. So, but in a nutshell, we love freedom. And there are some people in the United States who don't feel the same way. We have hundreds of millions of people. But long story short, I've been on this earth for roughly 38 years. And of course I don't know everything, but if there's one thing I've learned, there are essentially two kinds of people. Those who love freedom and those who love control. And you need to watch out for the latter. Obviously in governments, most of them fall into the latter category. I apologize too, the clouds are shifting and stuff like that, so I might go bright and dark. But yeah, I would encourage anyone who's listening to this to always vote for freedom. You can always lose freedom, or how do I want to word this? You can easily lose freedom. It's always hard to gain it back. Usually it takes fighting to gain back freedom. So do your best to fight for freedom in whatever country, whatever circumstance you live in. I don't want to pick on China per se, but I think they're a great example. I'm not picking on the people. I think they have a wonderful culture and a beautiful people. But as far as their government is concerned, they have very little freedom. They don't have freedom of religion. They don't have free speech. They don't have the right to bear arms. There's so many freedoms they don't enjoy that we enjoy because of their government, specifically because of their government. And that's why we love Independence Day, because we have so many freedoms here. Now, does that mean potentially more danger? Yes, of course it does. As one quote says, I prefer dangerous freedom to peaceful slavery. I definitely fall into that category. I would much prefer to have more dangerous freedom than more peaceful slavery. So I hope that makes sense, why we celebrate the 4th of July, why it's so important to us, because we celebrate and enjoy so many rights here. But as you know, many of those rights are under attack. My my comments are banned currently. That's not a big deal, but it's bit by bit. It always happens in inches and degrees. So yeah, no one can comment on this video except for like I think the first half hour, and then YouTube bans comments. For those who are new to the channel, it's basically just because there were child predators lurking around and they wanted to silence them. There might be other reasons, but that's just an example. More and more people want to limit free speech. They call things hate speech, so on and so forth. Again, I'm getting off into the weeds here. I know this video is supposed to be about something else, but as someone who loves freedom, I really want to promote that and hope that wherever you are, you will always vote for people who support freedom instead of those who are constantly trying to ban things, trying to limit free speech, trying to limit freedom of religion. Pay attention to their actions and their track records, not so much their words. So many politicians are guilty of doublespeak. They'll say one thing, do another. So again, I really, really encourage you, wherever you are, to fight for freedom. Again, a lot of people, it just depends on your context, where you are. Just do the best you can. So, switching gears, let's talk about fireworks and autism sensory issues. My son, Alistair, as long as we've known him, he loves fireworks. Doesn't seem to make sense because he has autism and generally associate autism with hating loud sounds, explosions, bright lights, all of which fireworks fall into that category. So why does he like fireworks so much? Well, I'm not autistic, but I think I can understand a little bit by comparing it this way. There are some people who come back from overseas who hate fireworks, from fighting overseas, who hate fireworks because it reminds them of warfare. For some, it reminds them of freedom. So they love fireworks even though they fought in battle. It just depends on the person. For me, I love roller coasters, and just stay with me here on this. My friend and I went to Magic Mountain, Six Flags, in Valencia, I believe, California. And I think they have the highest concentration of roller coasters anywhere in the world. And we decided we wanted to ride all of them. Now, I was a teenager at the time, so I was built better for more abuse. But even after that, I think we rode something like 13 or 14 coasters, and we were sick at the end of it. Kind of regretted it a little bit, but kind of didn't. Once the pain wore off, and once the nausea wore off, I have nothing but happy memories of that day, just hitting every single roller coaster. It was a blast. And I think in the same sense, when our kids play video games or they see fireworks, they might suffer a little bit of pain for a lot of pleasure, if that makes sense. Just like anyone else, they have likes and dislikes. And so when you see my son, I'm showing some B-roll here of him, falling backwards or tearing at the grass, similar to someone with autism who would tear paper, or flapping his hands like crazy. All of that is because he's receiving so much sensory input and he has to deal with it. But he likes fireworks. He is drawn to them. He actually ran outside and I had to chase him because one of our neighbors was lighting fireworks. And so we just sat in the grass and just went with it. So I hope that makes sense. As you all know, autism is a spectrum. It comes in many varieties, shapes, sizes, colors, and our sons are no exception. So I hope if you're a parent out there and you're like, no, absolutely hard and fast rules, no fireworks, none of this, none of that. I would encourage you to let your kids speak for themselves as far as their likes and dislikes. And sometimes they change. Sometimes they might like a food and then they might end up hating it later. Sometimes they might like a certain texture and then hating it later, and vice versa. Anyway, you just have to kind of roll with it. But anyway, that's the video. Just wanted to show you some footage of Alistair enjoying the fireworks and wish you all a happy 4th, no matter where you are in the world. And thank you so much for following our channel. And we'll see you in the next video. And we'll just keep providing content. Thanks so much.